Well, I'm Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick, pastor of King of Saints Tabernacle here in Cleveland, Texas. Just want to say hello to everybody, and we're going to go through our newsletter. So we have upcoming events, King of Saints, Ann Lutfi. She'll be sharing on July the 8th, morning service. Ann Lutfi is a powerful speaker. She has a radio program on weekly, and she's also a survivor of the Holocaust and the author of Across a Field of Angels. Also, on the 8th at 2 p.m., we're going to be having a business meeting. One of the things we need to discuss is repairs to the building. What we're going to look at, or be looking at, is total reconstruction of the back room kitchen area. The first stage will be making both the male and female restrooms handicap accessible, so we can, and Don says that it could take 2 weeks to do that, to fix the back room, which really needs to be done. Just want to mention also, if you missed John McTurnan's prior teachings at King of Saints, they're up at our YouTube and Rumble channels. YouTube is Apostolic Productions, and Rumble is Dr. Missick. Bill Hitt's teaching on healing ministry was very powerful and is also available on our YouTube and Rumble channels. Talk about congregational needs. It's something to pray about to maintain the church and our property in Shepherd, where my father's buried, the founder of this congregation. I need a pickup truck. It's pretty obvious when I'm trying to maintain the property and the cemetery. Need a pickup truck to be able to do that. Why? To move tools, equipment, and mowers. Please keep your eyes open and pray that Yahweh, who supplies all of our needs, supplies our need for a pickup truck. We also have special thanks. Our church is in need of more security. We erected 3 gates that will serve as fencing for our church. We should have done this a long time ago. We should have did this years ago when my father was still pastor. Because now we're seeing a lot of problems in our community, societal collapse. This has been going on for a long time, as far as like burglary, people breaking into church property. And the idea with the gates is this doesn't restrict people when we have good attendance, right? We just throw the gates open and people can freely drive in. On the one side of the church, we have 2 gates, right? We just throw them open. And then we have these barriers my father put up, and I put palm trees in the gaps between 2 and a gate in the center, and just open the gate when we drive through there. So the gates are a big solution. Also, it secures this facility and sends a message out there to these thieves with the fencing. Makes it more difficult. They can't drive vehicles. You know, a strange person can't drive a vehicle on our church facility anymore. They technically could, but they'd have to drive through like 3 neighbors' front yards. So that it's a deterrent. So I really appreciate Don, Dean Sturr, and Michael Griffin for helping me install the gates. It was a lot of hard work, and I really appreciate them helping me get that done. The next repair needs to be the back of the church. The floor needs to be strengthened, and the back wall also needs to have several planks replaced. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about. We have a proposal here from Don, and we'll talk about that in the business meeting. So hopefully we can get that fixed. We also need to look at having roof inspection and getting a dehumidifier to deal with possible leaks. I think our building is mostly okay, but we need to, once we get the back fixed, we need to look at other problems that the facility might be facing. This is very important. The fall feasts, the biblical feast days, and I'll mail these out to everybody I can. Feast of Trumpets is September 16th. Day of Atonement is September 25th. The Sukkot, the Feast of Festival of Tabernacles, September 30th through October 3rd. Hanukkah begins Thursday, December 7th, and ends Friday, December 15th. So this year, Hanukkah is in early December. It doesn't. Usually Hanukkah and Christmas coincide. Not this year. Looks like Christmas is going to be, Hanukkah's going to be over almost 2 weeks before Christmas time. We will have special services, trumpets on the Sabbath, Yom Kippur's on a Monday. We will have a focus on Yom Kippur, on the preceding Sabbath. Sukkot begins on a Sabbath. We may want to restore our tradition of observing Sukkot for a full week. We will celebrate Hanukkah on the Sabbath that falls during the festival. So every year when my dad was living, we would have services every night of Sukkot, and my father would have a special speaker every night. Usually we did okay with attendance. It's a big outreach opportunity, and now we need to think and pray about doing that again. Now, last year was the first Sukkot. Well, I guess we had two Sukkots without my dad, right? The first one was soon after he died. He just did it anyway. He was building a Sukkot in the back. It was never completed. Open air Sukkot. And we're not going to stop. We're going to continue carrying out my father's legacy, perhaps the third Sukkot from his death. We need to get back to his vision of Sukkot, which is like what do you call it? Like a harvest festival, revival type service. Brush arbor revival, like the old days with the Second Great Awakening. I want to mention some Christian movies. The Sound of Freedom is coming out on July the 4th. There have been some great faith-based movies this year. I strongly recommend watching The Jesus Revolution. It's a wonderful movie. Please go watch it. It's available. I got the DVD and the Blu-ray. Big George Foreman. I went to see that, and I also went and visited I met George Foreman years ago, and I went to hear him preach, and I talked to him after the service. Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah, in the Aramaic movie The Passion of the Christ, he's going to be in this movie entitled. It's about child sex trafficking, human trafficking, and it's based on a true story of this man who combats that evil. Now it's real bad here in the United States because our border is open. We needed to deal with the issue. We also check out Paul, the Apostle of Christ, in which Jim Caviezel portrayed Luke the Evangelist. I thought that was a good movie. I'm still working on finishing Dad's menorah. All the plates have now been 3D printed. Came out looking great. It's good to have a 3D printer because now we have a digital file of all the parts that they have scanned. Also, the 3D printing is done on a durable resin. So the thing is, Dad's his menorah, he used plaster and clay, and several of the plaster plates that go in the base, the pedestal of the menorah, were shattered, and because they're so fragile. And I actually broke one, and I wrapped it up. I tried to be very careful, and now that they're 3D, I had to put them back together, repair it. Then we 3D scanned it, and now we got with the resin 3D printing, it's so hard, you can't accidentally break it. It's so hard, if you wanted to break it, you'd have to swing it over your head real hard, because it's not gonna break. It's not as fragile. It's a lot more durable, and I'm pleased with that because it makes me feel like it's safe. So, I was thinking about doing the menorah in stages, where all the tops for the stage one, all the top of the menorah is the same. Each branch is unique, but I was thinking if we do it all the same on the top and just have the branches all look the same, basically, that way I'd be able to finish it, have one to display, and then phase two would be the complete, accurate replica. I might still do that. And right now, the center top part of the branch is at the 3D printer. It should be printed this week. But I'm looking at these branches, and I think I'm ready to. We got the center branch, the next one over. We can scan that really quickly, and the outermost branch is completed and sanded. So anyway, we're making progress on that. What I want to do is have the menorah ready to display for Sukkot, because what happened at the time of Yeshua, the menorah was the center of the Feast of Tabernacles, and the original name for Hanukkah was Sukkot in Kislev, because what happened is the Maccabees were not able to observe Hanukkah because of the war. They liberated the temple, and to celebrate the liberation and dedication of the temple, they celebrated second Sukkot. That's what it basically was. That's why Hanukkah is 8 days, is because Sukkot's 8 days. But now the tradition of menorah and Sukkot's kind of faded from popular memory among the Jewish people, and now that Hanukkah is identified, menorah is identified as a symbol of Hanukkah, even though it's originally both holidays. So what does that mean? That means I hope to have the Sukkot done by, I hope to have the menorah done by Sukkot. But if not, we're going to have the menorah done by Hanukkah. It might be better to have it done by Hanukkah. It gives us more time. And like I said, people, even though they should be associated, people don't. They don't realize the association between Sukkot and the menorah. But the identification with the menorah and Hanukkah is deep in everybody's awareness. So, but I think it'd be good to try to get it done by Sukkot. So, just pray for that situation. I mean, this endeavor. I think it's a worthy endeavor. This Ark of the Covenant that my dad built has been a lot of good publicity for our congregation, and perhaps the menorah can fill a similar role. Of course, the Ark of the Covenant has a place in the popular imagination. The menorah doesn't, because of the Indiana Jones movie. There's more interest and fascination with the Ark, but still, this will be the only accurate, full-scale, biblically and archaeological replica of the menorah on Earth. And I have to also say, some of the things that my father did is a great model, but some of it's conjectural, and it's a good, worthy attempt to recreate what the Ark of the Covenant looked like. But there might have been, we don't know 100% certainly what the Ark of the Covenant looked like, so my dad might have been off on certain things. But with the menorah, with the Arch of Titus relief showing the menorah, and with the text of the scriptures describing what it looked like, the menorah is actually going to be 100% accurate, while some of how my dad did the Ark of the Covenant is speculative. We have prayer needs. My aunt Elizabeth has been ill. Please don't forget our sister Carolyn. I need to go visit her soon. Pray for her. Tammy was sick recently. Hopefully she'll be in fellowship with us again soon. Remember to pray for Daryl. Daryl called and he wanted me to go visit him, which I will do when I have the opportunity. It's difficult to do it right now. I'm working on the cemetery. We have a nice sign in front of the cemetery. Why did I put that there? Because the telephone pole and another pole is, and a wire is right. It's the first thing you see. So with the cemetery sign, it kind of covers that outlet pole and the power line and the telephone pole. It kind of makes it where you see the sign for the cemetery covers that up, and you can look and see the cemetery. Now, I'm working on the when Trace and Stephanie were buried, there's a mound over the grave. It's got to be leveled. I'm trying to work on that a little bit every day to get it down level. All right. Also, we're doing Torah portions in prayer on Friday evening. We have the Zoom call. Just contact Joseph and Joyce about that. Go to Zoom. I guess I can give the ID. The ID is 820-2721-6744. The passcode is 248043 if you're able to, part of our congregation, want to join that. I have a teaching here, which I'm not going to read the whole teaching. It's about the diatessaron of Tatian, the Assyrian. It's a very important a version of the good news of Yeshua the Messiah in Aramaic. It hasn't survived in full in the Aramaic. It survived in an Arabic translation from the Aramaic. But Hebrew, Aramaic, and Arabic are all three very similar languages. A lot of words are, some of the words are the same in those languages. Some of them are very similar, where you can see they're obviously closely related languages. And something interesting about this, like I said, you can't actually read in translation the diatessaron. It's very significant, And in the early period of the Aramaic churches, they used the Diatessaron instead of the four Gospels. And what happened is a bishop decided to encourage the use of the four Gospels, so the Diatessaron was repressed so effectively that it's disappeared in its original Aramaic language, except for a commentary by St. Ephraim the Syrian. But it mentions here, I thought this is kind of interesting, in Aramaic the word for God is Allah, which is similar to Allah. Yeshua uses that on the cross. He says, Elohi, Elohi, lama sabachthani. Elohi, Allah is, in the book of Daniel uses that form. It's related to the word Elohim. Now, I just want to mention, of course, in Arabic you have Allah, which is identified with God. In Malta, the Christians of Malta speak an Arabic-derived language. They call God Allah. Coptic Christians call God Allah. But we have to, you can quibble about, is Allah the same God we worship? It's not what they call God, it's the attributes and characters of God. And I believe that the God of the Bible is not the same as the Allah of the Quran, right? In our revelation, God is our Father. And Islam rejects the truth that Jesus is the Son of God. They reject the fatherhood of God as well. I am planning on entering the race for Texas State Legislature again. Somebody has got to run against Ernest Bales, and they need to start running. If we're going to take Bales out of this position, have him retire from politics, we need to get started now. This man is hurting our community. He's dishonest. He campaigns as a conservative Republican, but he's one of the strongest Democrat votes in Austin. So he's lying to people. His voting record shows that he's a Democrat, and he's opposed to conservative values, Texas values, and Texas principles. And I'm offended, deeply offended by Ernest Bales and how he's hurting our community. And he needs to be confronted, and I'll confront him. Remember, I have many of my books on Amazon. Don't forget Dad's 2 books, Handbook for Christian Soldiers and Handbook for Christian Soul Winners. Don't forget the tracts we have in the back. I think they're very effective. The chicklet style tracts, the mini comics, and the trifold tracts. Leave them out, pass them out. I make sure that our laundromat is stocked with tracts all the time. It's an effective way to share the gospel. And also, I want to thank our wonderful team of ministers. I was thinking, I want you to check this out. Robert Lytle, I think I'd like to have him come again. But his teachings are on Rumble and YouTube. Robert Lytle is an old friend of my father, served in the military with my father, and gave some great dynamic teachings on the kingdom of God. So it's amazing we have a strong congregation. We get such great speakers here, and it's the Lord, and it's a blessing. But those are visiting speakers. But our regular team of ministers is Joseph and Joyce Logue. I really deeply appreciate them, their contributions. Carius Powell, great preacher. My uncle, Jeff Markowitz, praise leader. And of course, the Coonies are also participating in praise and worship. God bless them for that. Also, if you want to support our ministry and keep us going, please bless us with your presence. I hope to see you all soon. YouTube, Apostolic Productions, Rumble, Dr. Missick, Truth Social, Dr. Missick, Twitter, Stephen Missick. We also have our site, kingofsaints.net, and you can give there online to support our ministry. So, like I said, we're going to continue advancing the kingdom of God. So please support us. Like I said, give. I'm not taking money from the church. Sometimes if I like the gates, I bought the gates, and the church reimbursed me for the gates, but I'm not being paid by the church now. I guess it was voted on that I would be paid, but I'm not taking the money because the church needs it, and we're going to keep advancing the kingdom with the church, and we're going to believe that God is going to provide our every need according to His riches and glory, and we're going to continue to advance the kingdom and work to impact our community with the good news of Yeshua, Jesus, Messiah.